be to take a look at the developing stories of the day, the stories that you might have missed out on, stories that now have some sort of developing feature or an update on them. And this is our job here. We're trying to bring you the best of all the news, all the latest top news developments under one roof, under one particular segment. There's a lot that we're going to cover in terms of top stories. Of course, Chief Minister of Manipur, N. Biren Singh's photograph over there that you can see, which is because the Editors Guild of India, some of their reporters who had put out that report finding committee, unko Supreme Court se ek relief mil gaya hai. The Supreme Court has said no coercive action. There is protection essentially after they had moved the Supreme Court for that urgent hearing. That's something that we're going to talk about. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we're also going to shift our focus and talk about what's happening with Divya Spandana also, because earlier in the day we learned that she was no more. She had succumbed to a cardiac arrest, but later on the Congress came out and said that she's very much alive and she's in Geneva on some party duties. I mean, what a way to go away, right? I mean, in Geneva, the entire world is talking about how you've passed away and you're in Geneva. Lovely stuff. Well,
anyway, heat streak moment.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that, and also we'll talk about One Nation, One Poll, because that's the buzz that people just can't stop talking about. Now, Amit Shah is going to be meeting Ramnath Kovind, the former president, and former president is in fact the head of the panel that is looking into the simultaneous polls, whether it's plausible, whether it's not, the pros and cons, all of that. And what's more is that Law Minister is going to be accompanying the Home Minister when he goes and meets President Ramnath Kovind. That's something that we'll talk about. A story coming in from the world of cricket. Of course, match fixing, something people love to talk about. So we'll talk about all of this. But first and foremost, Pankaj, shifting our focus back to Chief Minister N. Biren Singh. What's essentially the idea? You had reporters from the Editors Guild of India. You had these reporters who put out their own fact-finding report. And, essentially the reportage that was carried out by these reporters who are part of the Editors Guild of India, now they have come out and said that the remarks and the comments that were made by Chief Minister N. Biren Singh, they were very intimidatory. Right. They felt threat, they felt scared, which is why a plea was moved in the Supreme Court, and now the Supreme Court has come out in their support. They're saying no coercive action against these reporters, Manipur reporters.
Yes, no coercive action there, and the issue, Kabir, here is something with which we are not very unfamiliar, I would say, because this fact-finding team of the Editors Guild, a 4-member team, was filing its own report on the alleged biased reporting by the local journalists in Manipur.
All right.
Now, when they gave an unfavorable report, they were there working on their basically fact-finding report. I think the state government took umbrage to it, and then 2 FIRs were lodged against them. Now, this whole scenario found a very quick mention in the Supreme Court, and now Supreme Court has given them the relief as far as the imminent arrest is concerned. Matter would be heard on September 11 once again, but what remains to be seen here, Kabir, is as of now, as we speak, there is nothing that is going right with Manipur. I mean, the visuals that we see, the kind of events that are, transpiring.
Because what's the message that's come out? The message that has gone out is that, because the report criticized the role of the administration of the current dispensation, which is why, the reporters had to face flack.
That's why I said ki what is happening there is not something that we are unfamiliar with. If you are probing me, and you are about to send a very negative reportage about me, my reaction would be to corner you.
Yeah.
And this is simply, going by the simple playbook, this is what. So who is at the helm of affairs? N. Biren Singh, Chief Minister. The man who is supposed to take control of the situation is getting in, time and indulge into acts of such nature. This is the case. This is worrisome, I would say, and also, going by the book, again, finding a loophole, that's a different thing altogether. But the point is, after 120 days, why no solution in Kashmir?
More than 120 days, Pankaj. But at the same time, my question that I'm trying to understand is that this bias in the media outlets in Manipur, how does one come down to the bottom of that? Dekhiye, sabse pehle, you can't trust any comment that comes out of Manipur, you have to corroborate it, you have to understand who said it, and then you have to check whether it was actually stated or not, and whether this byline of this particular court, is it the right person? You're raising allegations, you're accusing the chief minister, you're accusing the local administration of so many things over the last 120 days. You better have proof of why you're calling out the administration. But now this bias in media, how does one understand that? People are saying that there are cookie-owned media outlets are very less, Methi-owned media outlets are far and plenty. Most of the operations are carried out in the valley, not in the upper hills, which is why most of the paraphernalia and the infrastructure is also in the valley, which is a Methi-dominated area.
Right.
Who do you believe? How do you get down to the bottom of it? I mean, it's a catch-22 situation. I know there's no right or wrong answer here. I'm just trying to understand कैसे पता चलेगा फिर this bias.
बिल्कुल. See, I mean, if you ask me, Kabir,
information is of the utmost significance. Misinformation is something we have to curb when we're talking about Manipur.
Equally harmful.
Right.
See, all these things, once again, once we talk about, the pillars of democracy, I mean, referring to, the lawmakers, the courts, media for that matter, and the police force. Now, all these things, if they stop working in tandem, things will fall apart. Now, in Manipur, this is a classic case what is happening. So, what you are asking me that how media outlets are biased, I am sure there would be, because that is Manipur. If you take a holistic look of the national stage as of now, one would easily say that, yes, again, there are clear divisions. So, the thing is, Manipur as of now becoming an example of failure of these four tenets of constitution, of democracy. What is being done to contain that situation? And the answer is nothing. Things are going south with each passing hour. The thing is, so media houses obviously, in order to either support the administration or a few that may be calling out the administration on its lapses, again, is peddling news. Now, Kabir, the thing is, there was a time when newspaper was the only medium and there would be 1 or 2 news bulletins in 24 hours.
Right.
Now you have social media. So how you control it? Either you put complete block on that, which is the case in Manipur as of now in most of the areas. Otherwise, whatever you want to circulate, there is no one, as you're saying, to check, to verify the veracity of the news. I don't think that is happening. People's sentiments are being played upon and dance of destruction.
But in such a situation, it's so easy to fool the public. It's so easy to penetrate an idea that is not the truth inside the public, amongst the public.
Well, as they say that media has that power, and if not used judiciously, it would create havoc. And what we saw from that video that came out purportedly from May 4th or May 3rd, the parading of the women, that was an eye-opener.
Certainly.
That was an eye-opener, and the way reactions happen, I guess people, would follow, would imbibe what the media says. So it is utmost responsibility of media to be very careful and verify the sources.
What do you think is going to be the next challenge for N. Biren Singh when he's looking at only tackling misinformation in, amongst the general public? Because this is equally as dangerous as the plethora of weapons that people have amongst themselves. Spreading misinformation is also very crucial. I mean, look at the amount of people who get onto our streams as well. Look at the amount of people who are watching Manipur news, and not just Manipuris, people from all across the world. And so many Manipuris who are not living in Manipur right now. They're living in various parts of the world. Many of them in the national capital here, students carrying out their studies. उन सबका एक ही जरिया है जानने के लिए कि घर पे वापस क्या चल रहा है, which is news, which is the internet, which is essentially should be corroborated news, but you don't know what's happening. So when Biren Singh is even looking at and trying to challenge something like that, how difficult will it be for Biren Singh to do something like that?
Well, yes, Biren Singh as of now, see, he is in the position of control, he is in a position of power. Now he has to use his resources very judiciously, changing the heads of the police, changing, appointing new experienced hands as far as tackling the situation is concerned. They have also got experts on board who would be handling these militancy sort of situation where all these arms and ammunitions are being used against the general public, mostly looted from the police itself. All those things are fine, but when it comes to the information dissemination, that aspect, I think internally there are two aspects to it, Kabir, as you mentioned. First one is within Manipur. What is happening there? People are not able to use internet, that's for sure. Only a few places internet relaxation has been given. But what is happening outside of Manipur is all in the realm of speculation. Unless and until there is a government order, there is the chief minister who speaks, there is the security advisor to the chief minister, Biren Singh, who speaks, nothing can be taken on the face value.
Also, at the same time, how do you promote and exuberate the kind of confidence you want amongst your journalist, colleagues who are trying to cover Manipur? That is something we'll have to look at. And of course, if there is a bias, अगर ये bias सही में ground पर exist करता है, तो ये कितना डेंजरस है मणिपुर के लिए, एग्जैक्टली हाउ डेंजरस इज
उसी को चेक करने के लिए ये 4 लोगों की एडिटर्स गिल्ड की टीम गई थी,
राइट,
who faced the legal consequences.
Also the chair of the editors guild has also been named in that FIR, which is why intimidatory is what the members of editors guild said, that in Biren Singh, his comments seem very intimidatory, which is why they moved to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court ने आके बोल दिया है कि no coercive action, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं होगा. We'll have to wait and watch. This is a developing story. But to everybody who's watching this stream right now, listening to us, get down in the comment sections, please. Help us understand what is it that your opinion on this particular story or this particular segment is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's quickly move on. Even as we're talking about, domestic politics, there's one more state that one has to look at, Pankaj. That is the state of Haryana. And in Haryana, recently, the new violence, the Jal Abhishek Yatra, and it was carried out again. Communal politics, many people came out and said. But right now, a different kind of rumbling is taking place inside the Haryana Congress. This is internal Congress rift. Nothing new, again, albeit another state. Same script, different characters, different state. The divide in the Haryana State Congress, ladies and gentlemen, has once again come to the fore. Now, the Congress was left red-faced as slogans were raised against former Chief Minister Bhupinder Singh Hooda and Haryana Affairs in charge Deepak Babria. The slogans were raised by supporters of Rajya Sabha member Randeep Singh Surjewala. So it's basically Surjewala versus Hooda. Surjewala versus Hooda. They accused Hooda and his son of taking complete control over the party affairs in the state of Haryana. Senior Congress leaders have called for a meeting with party chief Arjun Kharge to discuss the same. Now, I'm just thinking, Arjun Kharge already has too much on his plate. He's in Rajasthan, simultaneously he's in Madhya Pradesh, then he's also heading meetings of the INDIA bloc, he's also heading meeting of the special parliamentary session, how the collective agenda has to be put across. If Sonia Gandhi is writing a letter to the Prime Minister, Arjun Kharge knows what's happening. If KC Venugopal has issued something in terms of being the General Secretary, then Arjun Kharge knows about it. Now, Arjun Kharge has been involved in this one as well. But I'm thinking, first and foremost, what is the rift essentially about? Is it egotistical? Is it a prestige issue? And secondly, why are Surjewala supporters, miffed at the fact that Randeep Singh Hooda is controlling the party affairs? I mean, he's there most of the time. Surjewala, it seems like, has a more national role. He's visiting various other states. He was there in Karnataka. He's there in Rajasthan. If you're talking about consoling Sachin Pilot versus Ashok Gehlot, Surjewala is there. If you're talking about what happened in between Siddaramaiah and DK Shiv Kumar, Surjewala is there. You have Surjewala at the national role. Why are Surjewala's protesters then, supporters then protesting?
Well, there is a saying, Kabir, that everyone wants to go to heaven, yet no one wants to die. Now, the name Surjewala is very critical here as far as what is happening in Haryana is concerned. Obviously, Bhupinder Singh Hooda, former Chief Minister of Haryana and a known face, Congress face in the state, is somehow facing the heat from a particular camp, which is by chance led by Surjewala and Randeep Singh Surjewala, and he is basically complaining and met in fact Arjun Kharge on the possible lines so that there is a camp within the Congress which is trying to divide the party in Haryana. Now remember, Haryana is going to elections also. It's a crucial year for Haryana in 2024. the state would be witnessing the polls. Now, for Congress, obviously sensing opportunity, Manohar Lal Khattar's government has faced flack on a lot of fronts, be it the handling of COVID back in 2019, 2020, to the new violence that has recently happened, to also some crumbling infrastructure. If you talk about the urban voters, say in Gurgaon and Hisar. Now, given the fact Congress riding high on the aspirations from Karnataka, they might be sensing some sort of opportunity here in Haryana as well, and that it could give potential mileage to youngsters like Randeep Singh Surjewala, Kumar Shelja and all.
Something's wrong.
And
Something's off. Something's off.
Something's off. See,
the minute an election comes across, yeah, you're right, personal ambitions. But you gotta keep it in your pocket, no, essentially. When you saw what happened with Captain Amrinder Singh and Navjot Singh Sidhu. We're already taking a look at what's happening with Bhupesh Baghel and T.S. Singh Deo.
See, you're right, but one thing that is common, if we are referring from it from Rajasthan's point of view, the age difference. A Sachin Pilot versus an Ashok Gehlot, a Randeep Singh Surjewala versus a Bhupinder Singh Hooda.
New versus the old.
New versus the old, and this is not just limited to states. This is also at the central Congress level. AICC is also facing the same thing.
It's actually a good point that you've made, because everywhere it seems like the direct fight is between somebody who's a youngster who wants to claim a space. But then again, Sachin Pilot has been quiet and calm ever since that ordeal that took place, a couple of years back. And he has been calm, he has been quiet. Even with the AICC presidential elections, Ashok Gehlot supporters and loyalists, what they did in Rajasthan.
That was classic politics.
Ajay Makan went there,
yes,
and nobody turned up for the meeting. Proper prestige issues. You can see, how egos are, riding real high. People say that, Congress party is a very democratic party. We've got 9,000 karyakartas and all that. But you have equal amount of egos to deal with as well.
Yes,
and I think that is something that comes and, hurts the Congress in its own foot.
Kabir, you are right. If you look at, again from the organizational point of view, this works, as a countermeasure, having personal ambitions. But in politics, as we have seen, talking about Lalu Prasad Yadav, he just underwent major surgery also. But even, Lalu, why I'm mentioning Lalu Prasad Yadav, because obviously he is one of the politicians
so-called
from the
ground leaders.
Yes,
from the ground leader era.
But if you ask him, I'm sure, I come from that state, and I would say that he, at this age also, he would nurture an ambition to be the Prime Minister, which is not wrong. If someone says that why Lalu ji ko क्यों है प्रधानमंत्री बनने का मन, तो वो गलत नहीं होता है politics में. So Surjewala, if he wants to become the chief minister of a state, or maybe wants his people to be, that's not wrong. But that's personally, that could be fine. It pushes them to work hard. It pushes them to connect with the grassroots level, masses. But when it comes to the organizational level, the sacrifice factor is something, once again, which is still date, I would say, lauded upon.
Right, and just to take a slight digression over here, I really want to read out some of these comments, because we've been asking people to get onto the comment section, and it is about Manipur, of course. Staying with the news on Haryana, let me just quickly read out some of these comments. They're saying that the firing started at Phugakchau Ikhakai, provoked by Kokomi. This is somebody who's put down in the comment section here. Somebody saying the chief minister cannot handle the state and needs to go. Another person saying CM Biren should step down. Saying now Methi militants attacking the Kukizo again. Methi don't want peace, they want war. And you know what, Pankaj? I'm not going to talk or take a follow-up question on this, but I know one thing for sure. What we're reading right now here is exactly what we were reading in the early days of May as well. So essentially nothing has changed. We're taking 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, 2 steps ahead, another 4 steps back. We take 4 steps in very slow pace ahead. We take very quick 2 steps back. All of that is happening on the Manipur front. So many thanks for all the viewers who are continuing to get down in the comment sections to help us understand what's your viewpoint on the Haryana Congress rumbling as well. So just to wrap up the Haryana Congress angle over here, what next for Arjun Kharge now, Pankaj? It seems like there's another state that he will have to visit. कहीं पे पगड़ी लगाए हैं राजस्थानी, कहीं पे मध्य प्रदेश का कुछ शॉल गमछा लगाए हैं. हरियाणा जाते हैं तो हरियाणा लगाएंगे.
हरियाणा में एथलीट्स बहुत आते हैं हरियाणा से. Maybe he should be ready for a sprint. Maybe his running shoes would come handy. Well, for Mallikarjun Kharge, see, when he assumed the chair of the presidency of Congress, obviously it was not an easy task, obviously. So
and he's done well. He's done well.
So far, so good, I would say. He has gotten them Karnataka. There are chances that they would retain Chhattisgarh, if I'm not, jumping the gun here. And obviously,
I mean, you are, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Yes. No, I mean, that is more to do with what Bhupesh Baghel has done for the state.
Right.
To put out these small fires, Mallikarjun Kharge is and has been the right guy to do it. Even if going back to that time when the decision was to be taken between Kharge and Shashi Tharoor, many pinned their hopes on Kharge because he is an astute politician, has seen many summers more than what Shashi Tharoor has seen, and he knows the dynamics. So obviously for a party that has been on the downslide, reviving it, two factors came in handy. First, Bharat Jodo Yatra, and secondly, Mallikarjun Kharge.
Yeah, हिंदी में कहावत है ना, जितने आपने दिन देखे हैं उतनी मैंने दिवालियां देखी हैं.
देखिए कह दिया आपने बस.
Mallikarjun Kharge holds really true for that guy for sure.
Definitely.
All right then, we'll have to wait and find out as to what essentially happens in the Haryana Congress is infighting. We'll keep bringing you the latest details, ears and eyes all across Haryana. Don't worry about that. News9 Live is your location, is your one-stop shop for all those developments. Meanwhile, let's shift our focus over here because one nation, one poll, ladies and gentlemen, is something that nobody can stop talking about. Youngsters, people going through their midlife crisis, people, in the upper rung of being senior citizens, सब लोग इसी की बात कर रहे हैं. And there are two aspects to it. Number one is whether we can hold simultaneous elections, Panchayat Raj elections, municipal elections, state legislative elections, and the national elections. Can we hold all of that together in one go? Number one, that is first question. कर सकते हैं, होगा कि नहीं होगा? That is number one. Number two is क्या करना सही है? Is it the need of the hour? Do we require one nation, one polls? These are two aspects. But let's first tell the viewers the latest update. So, ladies and gentlemen, the update is that Union Home Minister Amit Shah and the Law Minister Arjun Meghwal, they are going to together meet former President Ramnath Kovind. This is going to happen today. And why is this happening is because the former President of India, Ramnath Kovind, is the head of the committee which is taking a look at the possibility or how plausible are these simultaneous elections. Now the meeting comes as the committee is likely to hold its first meeting today at Ramnath Kovind's residence. On September 2nd, the government had notified a high-level meeting committee to look into this issue of holding simultaneous elections at the center and the local levels. It seems like, Pankaj, the ruling dispensation is serious about it. Seems like they're serious about it. There's a special parliamentary session that's on the cards from the 18th till the 22nd. India के नाम को भारत से replace करने की बात की जा रही है. जयराम रमेश ने कल tweet डाला कि so it is in fact official. The president has invited people by saying the president of Bharat is inviting you, and the prime minister, even as he's on his way to Jakarta, Indonesia for the ASEAN summit, packed schedule for the prime minister also. It is the prime minister of Bharat that has gone out. So that could be something that has taken up in the special parliamentary session. But it also one nation, one poll. सीरियस हैं, होम मिनिस्टर जा रहे हैं, होम मिनिस्टर के साथ लॉ मिनिस्टर वहां पर होंगे. रामनाथ कोविंद पहली मीटिंग करने जा रहे हैं. उन्होंने अभी पैनल बनाया था. It was formed just a couple of days back, and already the first meeting is taking place. Home minister, law minister, both there. Serious stuff.
Yes, serious stuff. But before that, as far as the Prime Minister of Bharat and President of Bharat is concerned, the government has also said that these are rumors as far as the changing the name of the country is concerned. Okay, in the official communique, the government of India is empowered to refer to either India or Bharat because that's what the Constitution also says.
Preamble says that. Yeah.
India also referred as Bharat. So that's their case. I mean, the morning newspapers are obviously mentioning that, but we are, you never know. Second thing is, as far as one nation, one poll is concerned, that aspect holds a lot of significance here because, if you look at 2020.
A lot of people watching the stream, I'm going to again, sorry to interject, I'm going to again ask all of you to get down in the comment sections, tell us what is your opinion about one nation, one poll. People from across the, the age brackets, aapka kya opinion hai? Let us know. We'd really love to take it. And I'm going to pick Pankaj's brain on whatever comments you have to give us. I'm so sorry to.
No, it's okay. Yeah. So, as far as one nation, one poll is concerned, the lineup, if you take a look from 2023 to almost 2024, after the national elections, there are several states that are going to polls. And this pack of 7 to 8 states within, say, 10 to 11 months, actually forms the right breeding ground for a one nation, one poll scenario to happen. Because these many states won't go to polls simultaneously, or maybe, you know, in a span of 10 to 12 months in the near future.
It's like a moment where the planets are aligned.
Moment where the planets are aligned, and hence, you know, bringing it as of now would make more sense. The speculations are rife though.
तो आप ये कहना चाह रहे हैं कि अगर if there is a sample, if there is a test, if there is an experimentation that can be carried out, the time is nigh.
The time is now, yes, I would say so, and also the mother of all elections, Lok Sabha elections, falls in between, so that's the icing on the cake, and that would be the driving factor. But having said that, the elections, especially the Lok Sabha elections, if that comes to mind, because some of these states would be completing their term, say by November this year, some of them would be completing it by the October next year.
Assemblies?
So both of them come together, that's one issue. But the question is, government has so far ruled out, that the general elections won't be held earlier.
Okay.
So these states which are going to elections in 2023 would complete their tenure. What happens to 2024 elections? They might come with May general elections.
Do we have the logistical and the managerial bandwidth to carry out simultaneous elections?
Good question.
I mean, people have already put on record how much Fauj is required, how much police personnel is required, how much booth officers, booth employees are required, how much of election commission officers are required. Right? When you go to cast your vote, it's the local teachers, it's the local people over there who take up these duties when elections are right around the corner. How do you come up with something like that? Of course, calls for greater room and greater citizen participation. But do we have the logistical bandwidth, Pankaj?
Right. See, I mean, this hurdle, Kabir, I would say, if I can call it a hurdle, would be needed to, overcome only once. If that is achieved, because as they say,
one time investment है.
One time investment है. One time जो reap करेंगे वो तो अलग चीज है. लेकिन जो कहते हैं ना कि सस्ता रोए बार बार महंगा रोए एक बार. So penny wise pound foolish situation नहीं करते हुए यहाँ पहली बार में उन्हें जुगत लगानी होगी कि सारे states एक साथ चुनाव होंगे, केंद्र का भी चुनाव एक ही बार होगा.
What are some arguments that are for one nation one election? भाई पैसा बच जाएगा ये पता है.
Lots of them, and there are arguments against it also. पैसा बच जाएगा, दैट्स देयर. अकाउंटेबिलिटी वाली जो बात एक आती है, डिलीवरी टाइम जो होगा उस सब के लिए सेम होगा. सो कंपैरिजन वुड बी वेरी क्रूशियल एट दैट टाइम कि 5 years वर गिवन टू अ स्टेट ऑफ बिहार, 5 years वर गिवन टू स्टेट ऑफ मध्य प्रदेश. सो हाउ डिड बोथ ऑफ देम फंक्शन? द मनी दैट वाज एलोकेटेड from the center, so the span that was given, maybe मान लीजिए बिहार में जो 5 साल की सरकार होती है वो मध्य प्रदेश में उससे आप कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि हो सकता है बिहार में जब सरकार बनी हो तीसरे साल में उस समय बारिश हो गई, कोविड आ गया, so things change for a particular state even if same amount of money is given. So for center's attention to states, if it is similar yet the results are different, but this would help. One nation, one poll will help analyze which state did better, because day one opening
performance has to be rated. Performance has to be rated,
and the time span also has to be the same for both of them.
Yeah,
so that's why.
I mean,
that's one.
The inferences are more, more clean if the time frame is same for both states. I understand. I get what you're coming from.
And there are some negative aspects also.
Would you like to throw some light on that as well?
Well, see, I mean, again, negative aspects dwell more upon the intricacies of the constitutional setup. Suppose सारे राज्य और देश में एक साथ चुनाव हुए, लेकिन किसी एक राज्य में कुछ पार्टी मेंबर्स ने उस विनिंग पार्टी को छोड़ के दूसरे के साथ हाथ मिला लिया जी, तो क्या होगा? क्या वहां पर
लास्ट मिनट शिप
जंपिंग हो सकती है? तो क्या वहां बाईपोल्स होंगे? क्या वहां पर सेकंड लार्जेस्ट पार्टी को दिया जाएगा? क्या बीच में अगर हुआ 2 साल बाद हो गया तो क्या करेंगे? बाईपोल से ही होगा या फिर से री इलेक्शन? अगर री इलेक्शन कराएंगे देन वी आर बैक टू स्क्वायर वन. अगर फुल ब्लोन इलेक्शन आप करवाते हैं देन वी आर बैक टू स्क्वायर वन. सो ऑल दीज एस्पेक्ट, दिस इज वन एस्पेक्ट. सेकेंडली, वंस अगेन नहीं कराने से, वन नेशन वन पोल नहीं कराने से अभी जो स्थिति है, वंस अगेन इट ड्वेल्स अपॉन द इकोनॉमिक्स ऑफ इट, बिकॉज द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स आर नॉट एबल टू इन अ वे गेज देमसेल्व्स कि 5 साल के लिए जो उन्होंने टारगेट पूरा किया था वो उन फाइनेंशियल 5 सालों में कंप्लीट हो पा रहा है कि नहीं, बिकॉज देयर आर सेवरल फैक्टर्स to it. For the bridges that are being built in Bihar, 1700 करोड़ रुपए का ब्रिज बनता है बिहार में, 5 साल में 2 बार वो गिर जाता है, बट उसका टारगेट तो 2 ही साल था जिस कंपनी ने बनाने के लिए दिया था. सो हु इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल ऑफ दैट? And government, state governments can't actually fund that kind of money. So you need more money from the center. See, how will you take it?
So, okay, all right. Clearly, you've told the viewers, Pankaj, that you have a fair share of idea about what is positive here and what is negative here.
Right.
And like all things in life, once you're sitting on the fence, like us journalists, grass is equally green on both sides. I'm trying to ask and understand, is that on the Libra scales, do the positives outweigh the negative or vice versa? Or is it a case where the balance is just right?
Fair enough. Kabir, I would say a very short and sweet answer here. That one nation, one poll is one idea that has been toyed by previous administrations also. It's not that India hasn't seen it. The first 4-5 elections that happened in independent India were all simultaneous elections till 1967, if I am not wrong, which involved wars with China and Pakistan also. So this is not one idea that this particular government has propagated. Yes, if it has to be done, let's look at the brighter side of it and maybe move along with that.
All right. Well, you heard the man. What is going to happen at the meet? Well, you can tune into News9 Live as soon as the meeting gets over between Ramnath Kovind, the Home Minister, and of course the Law Minister who's accompanying the Home Minister over there. As soon as that happens, well, we'll bring you live updates as to what's happening on the One Nation, One Poll front. All right, let's shift our focus here. Kannada actor Divya Spandana. All right, Divya Spandana, Kannada actor. Usually, when you type out a name on Google, you know what happens when you say Johnny Depp? It says Johnny Depp is dead. The autocorrect autofill just quickly tells you, Johnny Depp is dead. You put in Linkin Park lead singer, it says Linkin Park lead singer is 39, Linkin Park lead singer new song, Linkin Park lead singer dead. You put anything, you put
searches that
any celebrity you'll put, there will be a story about them not living anymore, not breathing anymore. The same happened with Divya Spandana. Today in the morning, you had, various people, putting their tweets out, putting their Instagram reels out, putting their social media posts out, all paying tribute, all, paying respect to Divya Spandana because she will cease to exist. And everybody was saying that she succumbed to a cardiac arrest. But that is not true, ladies and gentlemen. This is what, has been put out, visuals of Divya Spandana. Now, reports of the death of the former MP from Congress, Divya Spandana's death today flooded the social media earlier. However, the reports were soon rebuked as fake. The actress turned politician is very well alive and is currently, like I said in the beginning of the show, is currently on a tour in Geneva. So, wherever they are, they're having a real nice time. It's really hot over here and they're in Geneva. Regardless, the Tamil Nadu State Congress has confirmed, and we were showing that tweet, we put out that tweet on the screens as well. Tamil Nadu Congress has confirmed that the actor turned politician is absolutely fine and all reports are wrong. It says right here, rumors in some TV channel news are 100% wrong. This is hashtag verified, hashtag Divya Spandana. Our beloved former social media chairperson, Ms. Divya Spandana, is absolutely fine. Just a quick, whilst we're talking about this and when we've thrown this news to the viewers, let's talk about fake news also. Pankaj?
Right.
Because we always, I've always learned that what is being revealed is not news, what is being concealed is news. But I think in today's time, with the advent of social media, the news readers, news anchors and presenters, producers, the entire newsroom, it's their job as well to constantly come out and, debunk these myths, rebuke these fake news, right?
Well, that's the job. That's the job on paper, on the book. But what is happening is the race to be the first one to either break it or to put it in the realm of the common people. Now, you talked about, there is a saying, normally people refer to it for statistics that what it reveals is suggestive, what it conceals is vital. Now, this revelation that has come out in the form of Divya Spandana's ill health or unfortunate untimely death obviously is something that has an effect which many people, or the term that is used, clickbaits, are being used for that particular moment.
Right.
That hashtag right. Divya Spandana dead or Divya Spandana starts trending. Now going back to the Manipur issue that we were discussing, Kabir, that veracity and all those things, again, these are all interconnected affairs that in the quest to stand out, in the quest to somehow give, a shock value to a particular piece of news, attaching it to the general trend that has been going on, people start tweeting and starts, those things start becoming a trend. For Divya Spandana, we all wish her very good luck and a very healthy and hale and hearty life ahead.
And a nice time in Geneva.
And a nice time in Geneva. But she is not the only celebrity who found her name mentioned on the social media death list. Heat streak, if you remember.
Oh, yes.
Zimbabwean pace bowler. Heat streak, obviously, yes, he was unwell, he was not doing well, and unfortunately, he is no more with us. But almost a week before his actual death, medical death, it started trending, heat streak is dead. You know what, whom it took? It took his compatriot Henry Olanga to tweet a video and a message, WhatsApp message from heat streak saying, what is going on? I am still alive and kicking. And Henry Olanga said that his innings are not over. So this is not just India-specific scenario. This is happening across the world. Heat streak was hale and hearty at that time. Unfortunately, a week later, he passed away. But having said that, these emotions, these information, unless verified, we need sincere approach to it. Fake news circulation, these things can actually lead to other ramifications. So there is a need to regularize it, I would say.
All right, very well said. And this was our small effort of telling you what wasn't and what is. Again, you can count on News9 Live for corroborated news. What a great way, what a nice segue to tell people that we're doing the right kind of stuff.
You made the right pitch there.
All right, all right, let's move on. Let's talk about this as well, because this is now a little, important. Might be boring to certain viewers out there who are on the stream, but trust me, this is of grave significance. Because in a recent development, now the Supreme Court, the apex judicial body, has declined to consider a petition requesting the government to take action against fraudulent religious conversions in India. The court, comprising Chief Justice Divya Chandrachud himself and Justices J.V. Paradiwala and Manoj Misra, refused to issue a writ of mandamus to the government of India, stating that they would only entertain such a plea if there were ongoing legal challenges or prosecutions related to the issue. The petitioner, Jerome Anto, had asserted that Hindus and minors were being targeted and fraudulently converted to other religions. Again, that love jihad bogey,
yes.
The religious conversion bogey, all of that makes its way into the fray again. You talk about Special Marriages Act, you talk about religious conversions, you talk about the thin line between them. How are you looking at this particular Supreme Court observation? Because the Supreme Court essentially says,
yes.
Look, I mean, we are the Supreme Court, but not everything is in our jurisdiction as well. Don't just thopify everything on us and expect us to come out with an observation which is going to be in the precedent that everybody then follows.
Right. See, I mean, again, very critical, very thin line, few gray shades also, how to maneuver, this particular line when in religion is in question. And that too, religious conversion, and that too, fake in nature. Now, if you look at it, it's like poetry, thrice removed from reality.
Does a triple whammy exist?
A triple whammy. Well, I mean, see, the courts have to, and that's why this matter, which is in Supreme Court as of now, by the time it reached Supreme Court, the dimensions of it were so huge that the government had to actually change certain rules. If you remember, Amit Shah briefing the nation that new rules have been applied. So one of the rules puts actually criminal laws, IPC, if we talk about Indian Penal Code, there is a distinct rule amounting to equivalent to rape if a person changes his religion in a fake manner, marries a girl from a different religion and has sex with her. So that would amount to rape. So which means that fake religious conversions and the act done through it are now come under the criminal activity.
Right.
So Supreme Court, obviously, while looking at it, and there are so many aspects to it, that they have to be careful, first of all, and secondly, For a country as diverse as India, obviously there is a need to have very clear lines drawn as far as these situations are concerned. Otherwise, at times there has been incidents, Kabir, where innocent people have been caught on the wrong side of the fence.
No, certainly.
Or for that matter, the accused have gotten free just because
you're absolutely
long
right.
rope of
But a very peculiar conversation that took place inside the court premises. Take a look at this, Pankaj. Beg your pardon. It says a bench of Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Justices Paradiwala and Manoj Mishra dismissed the plea that was filed by Bengaluru-based Jerome Anto. The SC, Supreme Court says, we cannot entertain the plea filed under Article 32 of the Constitution. If there is a live challenge, we can entertain. But what kind of a PIL is this? PIL has become a tool and everyone is coming up with petitions like this, which is actually the kind of the case as well. Like, you just file a PIL and expect the Supreme Court to listen to you. The counsel for the petitioner claimed fraudulent conversions are taking place, targeting Hindus and minors. What should we do? Asked the counsel then. On this, the bench said, we are not in advisory jurisdiction.
Right. Yes.
I mean, you don't come us for come to us for advice. If there is a live challenge, we'll think about it, talk about it. But don't come flying off with every Tom, Dick and Harry PIL, and we're not essentially a consultation firm.
Right. If you take a look at the number of pending cases that we have in our judiciary, for a country of 140 crore, it's more than 5 crores. Okay, the cases that are still pending. So the government, Supreme Court obviously, discouraging them to just file PIL and come to their quarters is something which obviously talks about the volume. But having said that, the live threat first, and secondly, the advisory committee is not there, but there are rules in place that clearly define and put these kind of acts of fake religious conversions into the ambit of criminal activity.
All right then, ladies and gentlemen, shifting our focus over here, you must know about the SPG. It is the Special Protection Group. It is part of the security detail of the Prime Minister and all the top shot dignitaries. In an unfortunate incident, the longest serving director of the Special Protection Group, Arun Kumar Sinha, he has passed away at the age of 61. That's the picture over there on your screens. Now, Sinha was a distinguished, member of the 1987 batch Kerala cadre IPS officer. He had been at the helm of the SPG since 2016, which is actually a long time, because usually you wouldn't let somebody who's at the helm of a protection group for the Prime Minister and the President to stick around for long. Because you want to have a constant change so that security is maintained. And he recently received an extension in his services again. Over the years, Sinha has held various crucial positions, Pankaj, within the police force, including DCP Commissioner, Range IG, Intelligence IG, and Administration IG in Thiruvananthapuram as well. He's also established in 1985. The SPG's primary mission was to provide close security coverage to the Prime Minister, the former Prime Ministers, and their immediate family members. The longest serving SPG head, Arun Kumar Sinha. Well, he's no more. Would you like to throw some light, tell the viewers a little bit more about,
Right. See, it's our heart goes out and our condolences to the family of Mr. Sinha, and the role that he was, entrusted with is, I can safely say, Kabir, in my limited knowledge though, is one of the toughest jobs that you will have on this part of the globe. Why so?
Certainly.
We have lost 2 prime ministers to attacks, where they have been assassinated, Rajiv Gandhi and Indira Gandhi. After the assassination of Indira Gandhi in 1984, SPG, Special Protection Group, came into force. And much later came NSG, which is National Security Guards, the Black Cat Commandos. Now, SPG is a deputationist profile, where the best of the cadets, the best of the servicemen are taken from paramilitary, from armed forces and other places, and then they are entrusted role for 2 to 3 years or the stipulated time there. For a man to hold the position of the chief of SPG, I can safely say, not an easy job, because they are the masters of exfils, how to tackle situation, how to think straight even if under attack, all those things. And protecting the VIP protectee, not an easy job.
Well, absolutely. You're absolutely right over there. It seems like we've covered most of the news, but Pankaj, we also must tell the viewers about this one. Former Sri Lankan cricketer Sachitra Senanayake, he has been arrested over allegations of match fixing.
Right.
You know, match fixing, cricket, always sensational when it comes to the Indian subcontinent. Sri Lanka, a major part of that as well. That's the picture of the man over there. He's a former Sri Lankan cricketer. Now, Senanayake was accused of trying to fix matches in the 2020 edition of the Lanka Premier League, the LPL, which again was quite heavily watched and streamed.
Right.
He had allegedly enticed two players to fix games. The 38-year-old off-spinner today surrendered to the Sports Corruption Investigation Unit. Senanayake, however, has denied the charges against him. So the news tightening around Senanayake. Again, Sachitra Senanayake, off-spinner for the Sri Lankan team. It's the 2020 edition of the Lanka Premier League, jisme he tried to entice two players. He has, refused to accept those charges against him. But then at the same time, he's in front of the Sports Corruption Investigation Unit. He's come out and he surrendered. Very quickly before we wrap the show.
Right, so I would say, see, it's unfortunate for this quote-unquote gentleman's game to be plagued with this idea of match fixing. And since we have seen, the IPL picking pace, it has become generally, loosely people accept that match to fix hi hoga. But having said that, these kinds of charges and deeds would definitely call for immediate suspension. And if we go back in history, the match fixing scandals that we have in the past where several names, including that of Hansi Cronje, Jonty Rhodes, Herschel Gibbs, and rest of the players from South Africa, including Indian captain Mohammad Azharuddin, Kiran More, all those names that had come up in those alleged match fixing cases. I think as of now, it's time just to take a quick look at that.
Well, we'll have to wait and find out as to what happens on that front as well. Of course, Game On, our own special show, will take this up as well. Do tune in to News9 for all those updates. And Pankaj, with that, it seems like we've come to the end of this particular segment. Many thanks for all those who have joined us in the comment sections and help us out with the top stories. You helped us help you to stay on top of the news pulse of the day. That's all the time we have for you. This is Kaveen Naqvi and Pankaj Mishra signing off. Keep watching News9 Live.
He thought he could outlast us. And 1 year later, the evidence is right here in this room.
Who will blink first?
So far from preventing the expansion of NATO, Russian actions have actually resulted in the expansion of NATO.
It's a mess for Russia and it's a mess for the Western world.